Chad Mast asks, does the yield curve inversion bother you? Knowing it has predicted every recession 12 to 24 months before they happen continues to nag at me. I appreciate your work. That's false. And what you're stuck with is recency bias. Yes, it's predicted every recession in the last 2 recessions, but prior to that, it's simply not accurate. And one example of that is, well, there are a few things to consider here. Number one is we had a technical recession last year with 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. The yield curve inverted before that recession. So in effect, it already worked. The second thing is the most similar period to what we're experiencing right now would be 81 and 82. And what you saw was the yield curve inverted 1, 2, 3 separate times, but you only had 2 recessions because it was priced in. And here we had our inversion in 2019. We got our recession in 2020. We had a technical recession last year. We had the inversion. But I think a lot of what we're seeing around this inversion, and Liz Clayman had the guy who actually came up with that indicator on her show, and he explained why in this instance, his indicator, despite its historic accuracy, was not applicable to this time, and he explained why it wouldn't work. But if you just look back at history, even in the late 60s, the market rallied for another few years. After that, in the late 70s, you had another year or two of a rally. Even in the late 80s, the market started to recover. You had a recession, but the stock market had already crashed in 1987. So everyone who's so certain about this indicator is so certain because maybe they lived through the 2000 crash and maybe they lived through the 2007, so they think it works every time. And history just doesn't bear that out.